new species ask why the humans are so important or high up in the Union, they are met with a few answers. Person simply doesn't know, or they tell them they manage the law and make everything work. Most aren't satisfied with those answers and seek more, but often never find anything satisfactory. They see humanity as a weak but convenient species, whose function is respected but nothing much more. The fact that humans are rarely seen on other worlds besides the Union's envoise and an embassy adds more to their mystery. To most it seems as if humans simply appeared and were there at the right time, and placed to assist in the forming of a neutral party to draw the laws and make sure everything was fair and just. They were good at their job and employed every race in making sure the regulations were followed. No one questioned their authority, none had any ill will towards them, and wanted the benefits the Union provided. That's how humans stayed where they were, unquestioned. What they don't know are the two other species that existed before the Union's formation. Vidicos, those who see eternally, and Balrar, children of gods. They, together with the client races and those forcefully assimilated, were the dominant forces in the Milky Way, or the explored part. They met at the system now known as the Graveyard. It's a promising solar system with forgotten worlds with a radius of roughly 8,000 to 24,000 kilometers. Pure gems. The only problem were the three species that already settled it. The Jarnidi, keepers of life, along with Dragovci, collectors of life, and lastly the humans. A name without meaning, or so they want you to think, for they hide their true name from the universe. They are the Homo sapiens, the wise man. How insidious that true name is and its implications are so unnoticeable to us it is frightening. Just for their diplomatic skills, which are unparalleled, or their understanding of matter, the first to teach us of atoms in the world we don't see. None of those are what this documentary is about. What we found is going to shake the Union to its core. Humans are monsters. Let's start from beginning. A recent expedition to the Mupiker system revealed, to no surprise, the leftovers of a species that destroyed itself in the most gruesome and unimaginable way. Some planets were blown to pieces, some glass, and places where there should have been are vacant. The star is damaged and fast approaching its end. Only ships found are of the long-lost species we named Balrar. From the data we managed to scavenge, well, the research team on X-32O, the place where you get the black ice, unearthed an old ship. What is interesting about it is that it matches the ones found in orbit of Mupiker, a whole solar system away from their home world. The ship was in serviceable condition and we found it was still functional. Its purpose was to transport what we found out were the last hope of their species and all the plant life they could bring. They were running from monsters. Now you may wonder how we came to these conclusions. Well, we asked them, I know. How crazy is that? Getting the ship running again, the Balrar started waking up. One by one they emerged from their cryopods, and a few, after getting used to the light, came to the starboard and met us. Well, they ran and came back with weapons, but it all got sorted out in the end. They told us that they were the most powerful Javarns, we presume it means empire, in the galaxy. One was a match for them until they met the Bad Eyes Vidicos. They fought for dominance and the ownership of God's land, the Graveyard. A captain or some high-ranking official, we still don't understand their ranking systems, told us about the 3 weak thieves that soiled the gardens with their presence. When they exterminated Dragovci, we presume, but we all know they are still around, lucky us. While another ran to their enemy and assisted them. The third they didn't bother, as they were caught up with the war against the Bad Eyes. The humans apparently attempted to broker peace, big shocker there. We expected to hear how it failed and they killed each other off. To our surprise, well, the lack of any other ships in that system was a dead giveaway. They were unfamiliar with the name human, so we showed them holos of them. The reactions were not what we expected. They started screaming and running around. They even tried to take off again, but the thrusters were frozen shut. For calming them down and reassuring them that they were safe, we asked them to explain what they were so afraid of. They told us of the monsters and their hideous appearance, their deeds and wrath. As a side note, one which I am ashamed to make, one of our female Gaillard told how lovable and adorable little humans are, to which a Jamker, who brings shame to our species, was perplexed, and though humans are born that size, no, humans grow like everyone else. They might not be as tall as some, but they do grow. Anyhow, being a true investigator and truth seeker I am, I asked them to explain what happened. You can imagine it was the typical "woe them poor innocent creatures" story didn't go well with me. I demanded they tell the truth. With a few threats and promises they delivered. Humans were there as well. They didn't want to get involved, like always. In the start they tried to ignore the two massive forces fighting for dominance and continued on normally. But their colonies got attacked. They tried to form a peace treaty. It backfired and both the Balrar and Pitikos conducted separate but synchronized attacks on the humans. Everything seemed to go smoothly. There was some resistance, but that was to be expected. Is up until they got to their cradle. This is where they called over a member who I can only describe as damaged. Polo will be provided soon. They brought him and his equipment. It took it a long time, sometimes taking him half a minute to get well enough to continue a sentence, and the constant breaks we had to take. Not to bore you with the very, very useless details. The humans retaliated and struck at their own cradle. It was a survivor of the assault on Solarian claimed that the humans utilized disease, acid and poisons, radiation, and even molecular stabilizers to fend them off, all of which are very much against the laws of war. They were brutal in their fight, not caring if they died or not as long as they caused as much damage as they could. It talked about humans crashing their spaceships into Balrars when loss was inevitable, how a whole prison ship revolted and took control just to attack again. The dark arts humans used to fight even in death when their limbs were torn off, all of which caused disgust in them. They told us how the orders were issued to cleanse the scourge and taint from their universe. None of them knew what happened afterwards, only that the humans came at them and destroyed their home planet and the whole system with it. They all ran before they could see what was happening and couldn't give us precise information. Almost all were civilians and didn't know about humans' weapon or strategies utilized, nor what happened to Pitikos. We are currently requesting audience with the Union's representatives about the new species and how to deal with them, as well as to confirm or disprove the statements given by the Balrar. One thing is for sure, humans are not what we thought they were, and they might be monsters.